Welcome to my world.
So, looking at the original and looking at your version of it, I noticed three themes. Women expanded and empowered in this version. I noticed that there was a lack of drug use compared to the original with Priest and Eddie. And I also noticed that it was a bit brighter as far as the look aesthetically. How did you go about putting your stamp on it visually and making it feel very Atlanta?
I mean, across the board. So the women, of course, we had to build it up, and just they had to reflect being a woman in the 21st century, and just things have changed a lot, especially since the 70s. So they're just a kind of a docile woman wouldn't work, or just none of that would work. They had to be strong, they had to be intelligent, they had to be equals with him. Then when we get the drug use, I just wasn't into. I'm not. If I was making the like a almost like an independent version of Superfly, and it was super gritty and really real, and we're really in the streets, and then maybe I would do something where we're like, yeah, they're coke addicts themselves, and they're like, really take a real intelligent, hard look at what that would be if you're snorting coke and dealing coke and have these big dreams. But that's not the movie we're making. We're making a Sony Pictures summertime action movie. And in that case, I didn't want to make these super cool guys also snort coke all the time and have kids watch that and say, oh, I guess it's not that big a deal. I mean, so it just wasn't appealing to me. It wasn't needed, so we didn't do it. So the people who actually do end up snorting coke are also always a bit messed up in some way. And then visually, I took Superfly to mean everything is Superfly. So cars, clothes, props, every department, we had that talk. Right? With every department head, I spoke to him and said, make it Superfly. Everything should be awesome. Like fine, put 1 foot in reality and 1 foot in fantasy. So that's why our strip club, you've never seen a strip club like that before, right? It's girls in masks and they all wear gold and they're swinging off the, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like Cirque du Soleil meets, so, and that was a really good symbolism of how we do it. Like, a normal strip club is a one level thing on the side of some road somewhere, and we said, no, turn it all the way up. And I took that for everything, camera, lighting, everything's turned up.
Okay. So as far as the aspect of Snow Patrol and that kind of being a very Atlanta thing with things like BMF that originated from there, how did you feel that added and enhanced the story?
I mean, it's because it touched on something. It's like, in the original, Priest gets attacked by junkies. And I just didn't feel that a big millionaire level drug dealer would be anywhere that junkies could really do that to him. So then it's like, well, it was people in the drug world that attacked him. If it's not junkies, maybe they're dealers. And they say, oh, they're dealers. And then that began to evolve into now those dealers need to be a contrast to Priest. So where Priest is smart and plays things low and doesn't get too flashy, Snow Patrol dress in all white, call themselves Snow Patrol, have white car, like they just, everything's absolutely over the top with them, which is symbolically, the BMF guys at one point were obviously drug dealers, and everyone knew they were drug dealers, and they weren't hiding it. So, we wanted something that spoke to that piece of the culture. And it's interesting that you said, "Oh, I get it. That's BMF."
Last question: what does Superfly mean to you personally?
Me personally, I mean, Superfly is just, some folks just always got to be right. You know what I mean? Like even going to the grocery store. Even if you're doing sweats to the grocery store, there's some dope sweat. Yo, where'd you get those? Where'd you get that? You know what I mean? You should, when you're a Superfly, you should be getting that question essentially every day. Yo, where'd you get those shoes? Where'd you get that? How'd you? It's always done, always clean, always fresh, always looking right. And then what that means to, life in general for you. If you're really going to take that care to make sure you always look fresh, then everything else begins to line up. Everything else should be in its own Superfly.